Join Bonnie and me as we take a trip to the American deserts of Texas and New Mexico. We began our trip on Wednesday, March 14th. The temperature was 20 degrees Fahrenheit. After driving for 864 miles, we arrived in Elva, Oklahoma, where we spent the night in a Walmart parking lot. It was actually better than what I expected. On Thursday, March 15th, we were on our way to Alabaster Caverns State Park. I stopped to shoot this clip of what northern Oklahoma looks like. There was a strong 20-mile-an-hour southerly wind which quickly warmed up the area. The Cimarron River was quite dry when we were there, but I like these really unique cliff sides along the riverbank. The river's bed was really wide because it floods with thunderstorms, so it's quite a unique place to look at. Here we have the visitor center region outside the cave entrance. Of course, you go inside the building to buy the tickets, which costs $10 per person. Okay, let's take a walk down toward the entrance to the cave. Unfortunately, the rules didn't allow me to take my camera into the cave, so I have to shoot this after we went there. Off to the right here is a hiking trail that Bonnie and I will take later. Down there is the entrance to the cavern. And here we have the material that the cave is made up of. Well, got to get a picture of ourselves here at Alabaster Caverns State Park. And behind us, Cedar Canyon. You enjoying yourself?
Yes.
Long drive yesterday. Took us forever. We got to Walmart about just before 1 o'clock this morning. Yeah, this morning. Yeah. All right, here's the hiking trail. You get down off the top there and the wind isn't such a big deal. It is really windy today, but thankfully it's out of the sun, really warmed up. I'm actually wearing shorts at this time, which is a real plus. So we're heading down into Cedar Canyon. All right, this is the rock that the canyon, yes, that's true, but also the cave is made up of. It's alabaster. See if we can't get a close-up what that looks like. I guess it's a real soft rock. According to the cave guide, it's actually softer than our fingernails. And the canyon's over here. I guess you can tell why it's called Cedar Canyon, as there's enough water in the canyon to support trees. Otherwise, it's just mainly a grassland area, prairie. We have made it to the bottom of the canyon. And by golly, at the bottom of the canyon there's actually a little stream. Cedar Canyon. I think this is Cedar Creek, but I could be wrong about that. Well, you can see the wifey doesn't handle cold like I do. B. Alright, we're heading back up out of the canyon. And she has to dress like an Eskimo all year round. Texas has more wind turbines than any other state. We're along a ridge headed south from Abilene to San Angelo. We get a huge wind farm. Right in through here. The next day we visited the Caverns of Sonora, found about 7 miles west of Sonora, Texas, and about 3 miles south of I-10. We've got RV park and some other camping down the way. It's definitely touristy here. It's privately owned and it's designed to make the owners some money. I'll just kind of pan now and show you the RV area. We got people from California, Oregon. Let's see, where else? We're the farthest ones away. Florida. And this is the area behind our camper. You can tell it's very, very dry with all the cactus. With all the cacti. Very rocky. It's warm today. It's probably about 80 degrees. Not nearly as windy as it was yesterday. Yesterday we were driving into the wind and that really played havoc with gas mileage. The car really struggled. Today it was able to tour or pull mainly in 5th gear, so that was a plus.
This is Dinosaur Passage. Because of the shape of the rock is in the shape of a dinosaur. This passage leads back underneath the road and dead ends. They found some bones back here that they carbon dated back 3,000 years ago. They were of a prairie dog and some black-footed ferrets. We used to have bats in our cave a long time ago, but when people started coming in, they left. They're very private animals. They moved to Austin. There's about 7 miles of cave. If you walk our cave system above ground, it's only 250 yards. Underground, there's about 7 miles. And you can see different passage levels in the cave through that hole. The tour you're on is going to feel like you're walking through a big, tall building. And compact on top of each other. Those are known as bedding planes. Our cave is known as a hypergenic cave, not epigenic. An epigenic cave is formed from the flowing of rivers underground. This is hyper. It's formed from a fault line, the bottom of this cave. When we were under a shallow sea, that fault line erupted, sending sulfur and carbonic gases into the water, creating a sulfuric acid. These different passageways were stress cracks in the limestone. As that corrosive water got into it, started eating away at the limestone, making these passages bigger and bigger till eventually it was known as a cave. It finally corroded enough of the limestone as we rose above sea level and made the main entrance into our cave. The dome shape was from the gases swirling around inside the cave. The mineral on the wall is called calcite. In this form, it's called popcorn. We are in the Edwards Plateau. We are drained at the same time because it's the same on both sides of the room. And this is a joint in the cave, not a fault. Comes into this cave, that water degasses, depositing mineral on the ceiling to make your stalagmite. As that water degasses, it drops down and degasses again. It deposits more calcite, making your stalagmite. And when they grow together, it makes a column. When water degasses, it also puts off CO2. That's why our CO2 levels are high in the cave. Plus, we breathe out CO2 and suck in oxygen. And the cave system does the same thing with the barometric pressure. It releases the CO2 and sucks in the oxygen, depending on what your barometric pressure is. If your barometric pressure is low, it is releasing CO2. If the barometric pressure is high, it's sucking in oxygen. So, I mean, since y'all live in San Antonio, I mean, you know, yeah, I mean, even though you've probably been to Natural Bridge millions of times, but I mean, oh, just once? Oh, so you need to go on another tour.
They were little when we went.
Well, see? And they even have it for the kids.
I don't even remember going.
See, you gotta take them back, Grandma.
Gotta take them back.
This is called the first pretty part of the cave. When cavers were coming in here, they were doing a lot of damage to the cave. That's when the owners decided to preserve and protect the cave. They hired a guy out of Oklahoma. His name is Jack Birch. He's the developer of our cave. He utilized a lot of the broke material back into the trail. Usually I have kids that are not this quiet. Because they'll start picking back at me, you know? Over here, we have a little pool of water. This is called Vicky's Lake. This, when the cave was first opened to the public in 1960, they were putting as many people on a tour as possible. And a lot of damage was being done. People were throwing money in the different pools of water. The copper from the penny kills it and turns it green. So the owners put a man-made wishing well up in the cave over here. And up in the cave over here is the only place you can make a wish if you want to. Right here, cavers named the rooms after different things it would make them think of. This is called the Valley of Ice. In here, you're going to see your flowstone. When it's clear like that, it's pure calcite. When it's frosty color like that, it's also pure calcite. But it's got tiny little air bubbles trapped in it. The different colors are from the different minerals it's picking up from the surface. Each plant and animal has a different, puts off a different color. So we know that there was a swamp and a forest above us at one point in time. And where this is the hill, used to be the valley. Where the valley is, used to be the hill. Where the campers and RVers are, that used to be the hill. But throughout different decades, the surface of the land has changed. Now this is the hill, and over there is the valley. And then they made this passage. This is called the Palace of Angels because you can see an angel wing in the ceiling when you take a picture. Or this is called the wedding room. 11 weddings have taken place right here. They do limit it to 12 people though. So if you don't like your in-laws, don't invite them. Just invite your friends, 12 of them. This pool of water has dog-tooth spar growing in it. Dog-tooth spar grows in rich and calciated pools of water, and it feels like a little dog teeth. See this vein of calcite, how dark it is? Yeah. When they first discovered the cave and they didn't want no one knowing about it or anything, it was called Secret Cave. Then it was called Mayfield Cave. Now it's called Caverns of Sonora. Hold your phone up like this on camera. Oh, you're multiplying a lot there. Look, you can see George Washington, Bugs Bunny, Chewbacca over there, the abominable snowman, the old man with the beard. You only see it with the shadow, how the shadows fall in your camera. So you don't want no flash. spend a lot of time underground. And this one looks like they got a bunch of elephant in it. These are our two largest columns in the cave. If we were to cut into them, they would have rings like a tree. We number it again, and right here it's growing on it. So I assume that's what happened. I think it looks like Davy Jones' beard, though. It looks like a beard to me. You are going to lead across this bridge. There's some fish fins in here, soda straws, just all different kinds of lactites. Just take your time and lead across the bridge. Right here. Do you see them? Oh, you went too far out. Oh. There.
Right here, B.
Yeah, get closer to them. Make your camera go in. Oh, that's don't make it.
Zoom in, right?
Zoom out a little bit more. Right there is where you want it. There you go, right there. And that's the kissing column. Hey! How many water drops you gotten?
I think we got one.
One? We're gonna, what are you doing? Let Mom carry you. You're big. We're gonna eat goldfish. I don't have bananas out here. I can give you a banana, but I do have goldfish. This is our exit trail. It's a little strenuous. Oh, I got draw. Oh, I'm gonna stay in the cave. I can't let y'all out. There's 3 back to back, then the start of each stairs to get out of the cave. We will stop periodically. For God's hope.
There were 4 peafowl living near the visitor center, including this peacock. Later on, it would spread its tail feathers, but we didn't have a camera with us when it did that. This is the campground. They put a feeder out here for the deer. There was about 6 of them here just a little while ago. See 4 of them here. Well, you can see why they're over here. Got a corn feeder right up here that I think they heard it go off, because when I walked past earlier this morning, there was no corn on the ground. And we have the bluebirds.